What's up, guys? Welcome back to DCA. So today what we're going to do is talk about Fantom. Fantom is one of my favorite cryptocurrencies. I think it has, of all the altcoins, some of the most potential out there. I love the fundamentals behind the asset, and I think it's priced at a great value right now. So if we just look at CoinMarketCap, it's currently sitting in 30th place, which is a great position for one of the altcoins to be at, especially with as strong of fundamentals as Fantom has. So it's sitting right at around $5.2 billion. So just above Mana, right behind Algo. And I think a lot of the coins, and I do mean a lot of the coins ahead of it, have much worse fundamentals than Fantom does, which just positions it beautifully to move up the charts as we go forward. And if we just come over here quickly, I think you'll see that this will continue to happen. So what we're looking at here is Fantom versus the total altcoin market cap. You know, if you're unfamiliar with looking at charts like this, essentially this is showing you that Fantom currently makes up around 0.72% of the total altcoin market cap. All right, but notice that that has been precipitously rising over time. In fact, if we just go back to about the beginning of 2021, you know, it was sitting at that time at around 0.1%. So in relation to all other altcoins, if you take the summation of all altcoins market cap, it has actually gained around 7x versus the rest of the altcoin market. And, you know, another thing that we can see here is, let's just look, you know, here, and here. In fact, if you go back here to around August, when it really started to break out, if you go back to August, you see that we've been forming just this nice, beautiful upwards trend line against the rest of the altcoin market. And I think you're going to continue to see this. And in fact, we've also formed higher highs. So we got up to about 0.5% here in September. Then in October of 2021, it got up to around 0.9%. And then it was able to get up to almost 1% of the total altcoin market cap back in January. Okay. So that means it has been showing strength throughout the second half of 2021 and then into, you know, this more bearish time in the market. And that's generally, to me, a very strong sign. I want to know which assets are performing strongest at times when everything's not just going full parabolic, because a lot of the retail market, who typically are a bit less informed about the market overall, they aren't participating in the market as much right now. Only your informed investors, only your institutional investors, they are the ones in the market right now. And ultimately, they are going to be the ones driving the market. So what this is telling me is that they are valuing Fantom into this more bearish segment of the market that we've been in essentially ever since November. So next thing we can quickly do is just look at Fantom against the total crypto market cap. So now this will include Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. And you'll see we're seeing the exact same thing. Basically September, October, January, it has been making a move to the upside against all other assets. We're essentially seeing a place where, as things have been looking rough, Fantom is gaining more and more traction, which to me indicates it's gaining more and more big time player involvement. So big time investors are stepping in and valuing Fantom as we go forward. And you're just continuing to see higher lows and higher highs as we move forward. And I think you're likely going to continue to see this. So if we just kind of draw just a basic trend line, you know, we're seeing this place where we're just moving right in this channel as we go forward. The next thing we can quickly do is, if you're new to the channel, what we do here is mostly data analysis. So we have a machine learning algorithm model for Fantom, as well as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and pretty much all of the top altcoins with the best fundamentals. So I only make this metric for assets that I believe in. I don't have it for meme coins, for instance. It's only for assets that I envision potentially being here in, say, 2025 or 2030. Only those type of assets are the ones that I'm interested in investing in, because my approach to the market is that of an investor, not a speculator. I feel as though Fantom is one of these assets that is going to be around when the next market cycle comes around. And that's what's important, because oftentimes when you're looking at altcoins, go look back at whatever your top altcoins at, you know, in January of 2018 were. most of those top altcoins now are massively decreased in value compared to prior all-time highs. In fact, they never even got back to the prior all-time highs. Realistically, other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and maybe a few others, most of them never even got back to that all-time high ever again. Okay, so we're looking for those assets that have staying power going into the next cycle, and Fantom is near the top of the list of that for me. So we have this model. This is a machine learning algorithm model, and this basically just assesses when we may be approaching a market top, or even a local top in the case of altcoins during some of these more parabolic phases. And what you can see is essentially back here in February, the risk indicator hit 100. And what that means is it doesn't mean that the price is necessarily going to go down immediately, but it typically means that the market for this asset in particular is significantly overheated, and just statistically speaking, it's very likely to need a correction because of the fact that you have people who've been sitting on the asset since, almost 2 cents and are now sitting on the asset at 70 cents. They're up 35x in the span of about a month and a half. Of course, they're going to take profits. Statistically speaking, you're going to see them start to take profits. And what do you see from the high? We were down 82% from there over the next, 4 months or so, 4 or 5 months. So that's how a model like this works. And then from there, it became another great buying opportunity once it got into the lower risk levels, and has then headed back up and got above this 70 level. So pretty much anything 70 or above is becoming overheated, especially if it's already hit 100 in the same market cycle. It becomes very likely that you'll see some sort of sell-off at this point. And that's what we saw. So we got into the 70s yet again, and we saw the same exact thing occur, down 50% over, a course of less than a month. And then we saw the same thing here. Once we got into this 70 up to 75 level yet again, we just were in a place where we needed a correction, because we're coming from under $1 right here in September, and then in the end of October, so a month later, you're sitting at $3, above $3. So again, you're likely going to see profits, and that's what we've seen. Okay, so the price then fell down 66% from there. The price is becoming at a great opportunity to buy now, and that's kind of where we've been ever since then. Even this move, the model did not interpret this particular move back up to around 340 as being a significant move in the long run. So that indicates that the model believes that there's still a lot of room for the asset to head up from where we're at right now. In fact, we're sitting at around 40 right now. Now, truth be told, when Bitcoin and the total market are sort of depressed like they are right now, and that's a relative term, but when we're sitting at around 44,000, when we're sitting below the 20-week moving average, below the 50-week moving average for Bitcoin, that is, I'm sort of more hesitant to be buying into altcoins. But, I was buying Fantom in these stages here. So basically from ever since May, when we had this massive correction down here to around 36, I was buying in these zones, and I sold some of it when we got up to these levels, but I still have some of the asset that I was buying, down here, anywhere from 15 cents up to 40 cent zone. So when we're more bearish, I don't fully enter into the altcoin market, but I do continue to buy small amounts of altcoins, and Fantom is, chief amongst those. And right now, like I said, we're sitting at 40, so the model suggests that we still have a lot of upside from here. So let's just quickly take a look at this. And what we're looking at here are going to be, in my opinion, key resistance and support levels that we have. So if we look at the volume profile visible range, what this shows us basically, if you're unfamiliar with looking at this metric, this shows us where the asset has been traded at in the past. And if you don't know, the reason that is significant is for the fact that when you have known levels where the asset has been heavily traded, statistically speaking, that will form levels of support and resistance for the asset. Just think about it like this. If you bought Fantom at, let's say, $2.20. You bought it here thinking it was going to the moon, because that's what everyone's telling you, it's going to the moon. And then it goes down to $1.30. Well, you may very likely, and when I say you, I'm not specifically speaking to you, I'm speaking to the population as a whole. The statistical chance that individuals will sell when you come back through this level because they're just happy to get out at their cost basis, that level there, that probability increases. We spent a lot of time in this zone, and that's indicated by this horizontal bar here. As it sticks out further, that means there's more volume. Okay, so there's a lot of volume right in this level, and that will tend to form then a resistance level because a lot of people will just be happy to sell right at their cost basis. And in fact, if you look at this bar that we had right here, so you'll notice that this wick got right to this level where this larger area of volume exists, and it got kind of rejected there. Now, this isn't a confirmed rejection. It's still early in the day and there's still lots of time. But, you see in practice how we got rejected right as we got to that level. So this is one of the things I'm going to be watching for with respect to Fantom in terms of, can it break out from here? First of all, it's going to depend on two things. One, what does the stock market do? What does Bitcoin do? We're obviously in a highly volatile time right now. Bitcoin has went down all the way down to around 34K and is now trading at around 44K. So we're going to need to see Bitcoin be able to keep that momentum up, because the altcoins, quite frankly, will likely stall out very shortly in the future if Bitcoin is not able to continue its move upward. So that's the first thing I'm thinking about. The second thing is going to be, does a higher level of volume come in for Fantom? Because if we just look at the volume levels right now, the volume for Fantom right now, while it's not terrible, I'm not utterly convinced by the volume that we're seeing right now. So you see that these green bars that have put the buy side pressure over the last few days, sure, they're nice, but it's not like, we're not seeing any sort of massive move to the upside in terms of volume, which isn't necessarily required to see a large price move. In fact, if you look back here in December, there was, it wasn't the best volume you've ever seen before either back here. And nonetheless, we still got a move from about $1 all the way up to $3.40. So we didn't have the best volume and we still made this nice move, but it obviously wasn't a sustainable move, because now we're back down here, is going as low as $1.30 up to around $2 where we're at right now. Even if we do get rejected here, I think you still have the same thing occurring with the Fantom price with respect to US dollar that you're seeing with respect to the altcoin market and to Bitcoin. You're making higher lows, and if you look at the closes, which are where I put more stock rather than the wicks, you've actually made higher highs. Okay, so if Fantom can break through this $2, around $2.10 level, up through around $2.35, I think you're going to be in a nice position. Now, if it gets rejected, then you have to ask yourself, where are you looking at to the downside? Where are sort of the potential support levels? And what we do when we look at this volume profile visible range chart is looking at the areas which are called high volume nodes, which are obviously these areas where you have a lot of volume, and then looking at your areas which are called low volume nodes, which, if you see this gap here, there's this black gap right here. These are low volume nodes. So these essentially are areas where there's not a lot of trading being done. And you'll notice that throughout Fantom's price history, where does it just fly through anytime it gets to this level? And that's right through here, this low volume node. It doesn't spend a lot of time in this level. And that's anywhere from around $1.56 to the low side, all the way up to around $1.95 to the upside. You'll notice every time we get into this level, there's a large bar that forms, and it just shoots right through, and again, right through. So, unless something, significantly changes where people start valuing it right in this range, I think you'll continue to see the volume move up and down through this level. That is until it breaks through this upper side here and starts to hold this level as support. So as for a future support level, I think you'll eventually be looking right here in this level. And you'll notice that as I move the chart around, it changes because it's looking at the volume at whatever price level we're looking at. But if we come this way, there's just no volume over here, right? Because it's a newer asset and it's only been in these higher levels for, more recent times, ever since around September. So, this is a level that we're going to need to get above this right here, this $1.90 up to around $2.40. And I think it's a good target for a future support level once we finally do break above it. And then, then you'll be looking at trying to get above this $3 level. Now, if you need further convincing about how this metric works, let me just quickly show you this. So this is going back to September, all right? And I'm only showing you the price up to this level right here in September because I want to show you how you can use this to judge where support or resistance may form. So, we're at new highs back at this time. If we just, go back to September, we're talking about right here, and you can see obviously that this is a new high area. So we're at a new high, and you are trying to judge where the support may form. And you're sitting right here at around $1.47, okay? You see we're in a higher volume zone right here. There's a lot of volume right here. But below that volume zone, so below this area right here, what do you have? You don't have a lot of volume until where? And that's until you get down right here to around 94 cents, okay? So if we just take a look so we're saying there's some volume right here at around 94 cents. And now I'm just, this metric that we're looking at doesn't have any future knowledge here. It doesn't know what's going to happen after this bar that I've put right here. So if we just walk it forward, then we're saying this is where your next major support level is. Let's go see where the price heads down to then. All right. And if we just draw this line over like this, and we'll make it a bit bigger here, price starts to fall after September into late September. And where does it find support? Right at this level where your next high volume node is. And that's exactly what we see. So you know that we have a high volume node right here at about 92 cents. And as we come over, you see it holds support exactly at that level. And remember, when we drew this line here, this metric did not know, what the future is going to be. So it doesn't know, where the future support will be. It's only saying we know that there's a lot of volume right here at 92 cents. And as we come over, that's exactly where we hold. Then you're suspecting that there may be a little bit of resistance as we come through this level. And we do catch a little bit of resistance. You'll see right as it gets to this upper zone of the band, we take 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th day we're finally able to break above it. But it does hold a small amount of resistance during that time. Then we go up to this level and hold this level as resistance for a while, and now this has become our this is where we're at right now, the same place where it took us a while to get above back in October. So from October 8th all the way until October 22nd, we were struggling to get above that level, and a lot of volume was forming right in here, and that's why you may see it as a little bit of resistance yet again. Then we kind of held it as support as the market was just, the sky was falling all around the market in November. We tried to hold this level as support, unfortunately weren't able to. And then where did it go? It went right back down to our support level that we talked about previously, down into this 120 up to around 150 zone. All right. Then we got back up to this level, and you're seeing it just play out perfectly, just as we would expect. You have a lot of volume in this zone. It's a strong support level. You see just perfectly these two supports here and resistance levels here. All right. And then, and now you've actually formed, once we finally do get above this 205 up to 240 zone, now you probably have another little bit of a resistance zone right in here. And just to keep it consistent, we will call it red and red. So you probably have a little bit of a resistance zone here, and a little bit of resistance here. But this is an altcoin with only a $5 billion market cap, right? So like we said, we're sitting at 5.2 billion approximately. Look at what we have above us. I mean, just look at the, you have Dogecoin, Shiba, you know, a lot of, and then up here, you know, you have things like XRP. Some of these are good projects with a lot of potential, although Cardano lately is, you know, has been quite disappointing. But then you just have things that, you know, I question whether they will even be around come the next market cycle. So I think Fantom is beautifully positioned. I think it has a lot of room to move, and it's hands down one of my favorite altcoins that, in spite of the market looking rough over the last, you know, couple months, 3 months or so, I've continued to acquire. And, you know, I have other videos talking about my particular strategy, which is primarily a dollar cost averaging strategy. Numerous videos on that on the channel. You could check those out if you're interested. But Fantom is one that I think has a lot of upside potential, and I think is going to do big things. I think it's going to be a big player come the next market cycle. So that's it for this one, guys. Until next time, as usual, see you.